My people, it don't happen, no. International bodies don't declare, say, Peter Obi na the president, na the ruling and the leading man for Nigeria. We go take Nigeria to another level. Make una listen waiting where inec analyst open mouth join into it.
To applaud what we have achieved so far in this election, if we should look at what has happened in this other state, it go beyond any shortcoming that may be discussed later. And at the same time, we want to bring to the notice of the Nigeria that in my polling unit, where a party that I was supporting was even leading, but because of difference of 11 votes with the beavers, the other person protested, and I said, no, how was the 11 votes got in the first place? Who accredited him that was not capturing beaver? The summary of it was that that polling unit result was cancelled. And as God will do it, another polling unit where another party have the highest has also overvoted. And because the agents were there to look at what was in the beavers result vis-a-vis the declared result, that particular polling unit was also cancelled. I'm speaking based on what happened in Obi local government. I cannot speak on behalf of Oju, even though I'm from Obi Oju Federal Constituency. What am I trying to say in essence? Election where the Godfather, where those that think that they cannot do without them, were suppressed, in quote. So what am I trying to say in essence? Nigeria have grown beyond political partisanship to loyalty. Some my friend say that they want P2B in the polling unit. That's okay. If it's P2B, you want exercise of your franchise. It's left for you to determine. In that polling unit where I come from, P2B won in that election in Obi local government. Ogore to be precise. What am I trying to say? This 2023 election is a watershed in Nigeria electoral jurisprudence, especially within the context of what happened in 2003, where if a day to election, name of candidate were changed and all those particular stuff during the time of Obasanjo. And in 2007, recall that the Supreme Court, under 4:3 ratio, with the case of Buhari vs. inec, nullified the election because of no serialization of ballot box, of ballot paper. So what are we trying to say? The inec, with due respect, even though they may have one shortcoming or lacuna, have really evolved based on our rich electoral jurisprudence. And one of my book, Electoral Jurisprudence in Nigeria, I can say Nigeria have the richest electoral jurisprudence in the world, because even issues that have been settled by the Supreme Court, they still litigate on it. Who is a candidate, which have been resolved. Like one of the judges said that he doesn't know that my Benue State has taken over those Anambra in terms of litigation. So,
Prof, let me jump in.
The Federal High Court, and they were able to do everything within those short time, and even on Friday.
Prof, let me interrupt you. Let me interrupt you, Prof. Prof, let me interrupt you and say that basically what you're getting at is that even though there seems to be emphasis on where the shortcomings are, the fact is that in your view, at least from what you saw and observed, the process worked. The process worked because the outcomes are outcomes that we couldn't have predicted at the last elections or in elections before now. I think that point is well made, but I want to return you to what we are witnessing now, where there are, as we are speaking now, the Labour Party, which you referenced, and the People's Democratic Party are holding a joint press conference, and they are not speaking well of the elections, because yesterday we all witnessed what their various agents did at the National Collation Center. So, to that effect, I want you to reconcile what you've just told us from what you witnessed in Benue with what is alleged to have happened on a more national level, and which is leading these other parties to protest and in some cases to either call for a suspension or a cancellation or a review, whatever English one wants to use to describe what they are calling for, but that the process as it is, they are not happy with and they don't accept.
Yes, first and foremost, we should know that in every context, even in Benue where I've referenced, I say I was satisfied with the result of Obi local government And since I was not in Noju, to know whether those particular agents challenge what the result they return or not. So any person that is giving any opinion should be based on what he see, because that's what the position of the law say. You cannot be in all the polling units. So their observation may not necessarily out of place, but you know, when you feel that you are very successful already, that you have a lot of membership, and all of a sudden your member decide to work against you, like in Benue State, Autumn was the origin of the defeat of PDP, the alienation of PDP, because it was elected under APC in 2015. All of a sudden, he came to PDP. All of a sudden, fielded to his senatorial election. He said that he's ready to sacrifice his senatorial ambition for the ambition of Peter Obi. So at the same time, so there was lack of discipline already in the political party. That's why I say that what happened in Benue, it was not the strength of APC that gave them that victory, but PDP were fighting themselves. At the end of the day, PDP is at the verge of being wiped out with all sense of responsibility. Even PDP are also not happy with the outcome of the result, because they felt that they have all it takes. But someone that feel that he was cheated in the primary felt that if I did not go, like crab mentality, that you will not go. So what I'm trying to say, we must also interrogate the stakeholders of those parties that are fear that fair aggrieved. Okay, for instance, like what happened in Enugu State, incumbent governor lost his seat. What happened in Plateau State, incumbent governor that is even director general of APC lost the senatorial ambition too. So what am I trying to say? Look at it now. Nasarawa SDP won the senatorial seat. So the victory cut across all political parties. So if you are not in the polling unit to know what actually happened, you will feel that the result is manipulated. But one thing I want us to bring to the domain of Nigeria, that transmission does not authenticate the validity of the election. The validity of the election starts from the polling unit, where those political parties have agents in those polling units. What was their observation when the result was entered? This is the starting point, because the Supreme Court said that it's the evidence of the polling agent that is credible, not even the work collecting agent, because it cannot be in all the political, in the ward or polling unit. So what I'm trying to say in essence is that Labour Party has even set unprecedented victory, a victory that will take years to wipe out. For Labour Party to win Lagos State, it's unheard of, and it's not because Igbo were majority. There were Yorubas there. There are even Igede. There are other tribes in that place. But they just, Peter Obi was a movement. But like some of us were saying, it's not enough to build the success around an individual. Look at what happened in Osun State. That was even the presumed state of the presidential candidate of APC, even though he adopted Lagos State. But even the two states, he lost out. What am I trying to say? To show that you cannot work against yourself in a place that you have stronghold. So Nigeria should not be a weeping child if you do not favor you successful. I say it's not every act of inec that is subject to public opinion. There are experts that can resolve those anomalies, especially the election tribunal, like one of the members in the Lagos State. That there are a lot of options that can be explored. But if you are not there to watch the collation, and even if you are not there, in as much as the agent have already satisfied those conditions, those documents, the end result of the beavers can also be tendered, like what has happened in Osun State. They are challenging in the even Osun tribunal gave victory to APC against the incumbent, even though the incumbent Adeleke still have right of appeal to Court of Appeal and Supreme Court. Because even like that judgment, the result was alleged to be in essence of what was in the beavers. But if you even analyze that decision, how do you know which of a voting go to A or B? So it's a lot of germane issue. And we should also know that INEC has made tremendous improvement. Look at what happened in 2015 when card reader was introduced to electoral jurisprudence. Supreme Court said that no, in as much as there was no legislative backing, you cannot display the voter register. Why was the SM? Because you compare both the electronic version, which is the and the physical voter register. So that was the position in 2015. And if you look at what happened in 2011, when the Evidence Act was enacted, the issue of admissibility of documentary evidence become an issue. But now it has generated to transmission. It's left for the Supreme Court to determine whether failure to transmit promptly invalidate election that have been duly conducted, certified, and cross-checked by the party agent and their signatory.